Good evening, everyone. How we doing?
Doing
Good.
fine.
Good.
Good.
Great.
I think Shalandra is trying to come in. She says, how do we gain entrance if the door is locked? She's at the building and she can't get in.
I told her to call the non-emergency number and have somebody let her in.
The door should not be locked if there's a public meeting.
No, the doors are always locked at 5 o'clock.
But if there's a public meeting, how do we get into the meeting?
There's usually somebody, Christina is usually there, but somebody will be there to let her in.
You mean the
Or you
doors
just
at the
pick up the
police
phone there in
station
the
or
lobby
City
and
Hall?
call.
The doors at the police station or City Hall?
At
The police station where the
At the
meeting
base.
is supposed to be held.
There's
You
no one
mean-
in the lobby now, so the doors are locked at 5.
You pick the phone up. You pick the phone up and call, and somebody will come.
Hmm.
Good evening, everyone. You
Good
guys,
evening.
sorry, for some reason, it's echoing. You couldn't hear me on the other one.
You have some vibration.
Is it working better now?
Yep.
Much.
Okay. I was speaking earlier. Someone did let me in. I was speaking earlier, but for some reason this computer wasn't recording me speaking.
In progress.
That's what I said. We'll go- One second. The chief is here. He stepped out for a second. Before we get started, let me make sure we got enough people before I start talking. Supposed to have 7. We got 1.
We do. I've been counting as they came in.
Okay, thank you, Lee. I appreciate that. All righty. So we will go ahead and get started. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for
Thank you.
today's meeting. We haven't been able to meet since June, so I appreciate that. And this is actually my first time hosting the meeting, so please give me grace if I miss something.
Sure.
I did how to work that part, so I just ignored it. Oh, that's my part.
All right. Oh, here you go.
Oh, okay.
Man, we're gonna get this going here, I think. There we go.
There we go. Perfect.
And yeah.
Okay.
Your mic, I don't think it hear you. Your mic is off.
Yep. It wasn't working, so I just put it on my computer.
It is what you just didn't turn it on. Right here.
But they,
Here we go.
oh,
Let's
that's
see.
exactly why they
That
didn't
could
hear
be
me.
Test. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
There it is. Now you can hear. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
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 You gotta turn this one off. I would just shut it off. There you go. You could put that on a jump drive if you're trying to show it to them. Okay.
I can do that.
All right, let's see. Oh, I'm on the wrong computer over here. Too many computers. All right, they should be able to hear us now. Can somebody say something? Let's see if we can hear them.
Hello. Good evening.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm trying to set this up. How about say hello?
Yeah, good evening.
There we go. We're in business over here. There we go. There you go. Shimon, it's all yours.
All right. So I have to read this proclamation thing before we get started, and then we will do attendance. So public notice, on September 16th, 2022, the governor signed a new disaster proclamation extending the statewide declaration through Saturday, November 12th, 2022. With the signing of this new disaster proclamation, public meetings may continue to be held remotely, subject to the requirements of Public Act 101-0640. Commissions and committees may still hold their meetings in person or a hybrid meeting as long as the quorum is met. So we might have to get an updated one since this says this ends on the 12th. Oh, okay, perfect. Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, all right, go ahead. All right, so we'll go ahead and do attendance now. Andre Allen. Andre,
Present.
okay. Chief Boone,
Present.
Terry Burnside. Kevin Evans. Chanel Hargrave Moore. Jackson. Don Jackson.
Here.
Ms. King.
Present.
Lee Lang.
Present.
Catherine.
Present.
Karen Wilson.
Here.
Yolanda Wallace. Okay. I think that we have a quorum, so I think we can go ahead and get started. The first thing I need to do is approve the meeting minutes from June 9th, our last meeting. Can I get a vote on approving those minutes from June 9th?
So moved.
Second.
It's a little bit, but we're working it out. Okay, that was,
Don Jackson seconded.
thank you, Mr. Jackson. All right, Andre,
Aye.
Chief Boone,
Aye.
we know you agree. Ms. King,
Aye.
Lee Lang,
Approve.
Catherine,
Yes.
and Karen, did you initiate it or was that Catherine?
That is me.
Okay, Karen,
I approve.
okay, thank you. All right, we can go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do as the new chair is to talk about a little bit about the purpose of our committee and where we're going as far as the committee. I know in the past, we've kind of looked a lot at complaints and how to best address those complaints. But in doing some research and then speaking with Mayor Ali, we would like the committee to take a little bit of a different direction. And so I took some time to look up the purpose of the committee based on what's on the Peoria County website. So I don't know if everybody else is familiar with that, but I could read it if you're not familiar with it. If you are, then we could just move forward. Does everybody need me to read it to them? No? Okay, good. So with that being said, with the initial purpose of the committee, I wanted to talk about some goals that we can start to develop for our committee and to start to think about a strategic plan for our committee in the future. So I sent out, I know it's been a while ago, in our meeting in, okay. All right, thank you. In the meeting in June, I talked about for our next meeting, which would have been in July, to come up with some goals that we would like to see from our committee. I know it's been a little while, but did anyone have a chance or opportunity to write some of their goals or ideas of what they would like to see with the committee and would like to share them today?
First, can we just ask why it is that we can't have a quorum at our meetings? I mean, we need to address that, I think. I think if people are committed to this committee, they should respond and show up or have a legitimate reason for not showing up. Second, I would like us to actually do something, not just meet and not get things done. I would like us to actually take action steps. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that is the purpose of this meeting, is to talk about moving forward and to find out what we can do aside from meeting, because I do understand that sometimes meeting all the time is not beneficial. So that is why I'm asking, you know, some goals or some ideas of what you all would like to see from the committee. So I do definitely understand that we would like to see some action. As far as the quorum, we don't have the attendance. Unfortunately, we can't have a quorum. So I do think it's important that we all try to make an effort, or if you're not able to attend, send Christina a message so that she knows that you're not able to attend. But yes, I do agree that having the quorum is important. And we do also have some vacant slots, which kind of affects our quorum as well, because we do have, I believe it is 5 vacant slots right now.
Shalandra,
Yes.
I sent an email and I'm following up with a phone call to Councilman Sears, because he is in District 5. We do need a member from District 5, so I'm asking him if he has anyone that he can nominate for the committee. I also talked to Councilwoman Denise Jackson today about a person that I know in her district that might be interested. So she's going to look into that for us. So that would be District 5 and an at-large, and then Yolanda is an at-large. So I think we would still need 2 under 25s and maybe 1 more at-large. We're short 5, so a District 5, Yolanda is at-large. Yeah, so I think that would leave us 2 under 25.
Okay, thank you so much for that and for following up on that. Ms. King, did you have something that looked like you had your hand raised for a second?
Yes, you said that you talked to the mayor and you were looking at going in a different direction, and that might be helpful to know that direction for us to provide additional input.
I'm sorry, I didn't clarify that. In the direction of doing more, building the relationships between the police and the community and doing some more community involvement. I'm sorry that I didn't clarify that.
Okay.
Anyone else have any comments as far as the ideas or things we could do in the community or as a committee?
Chairwoman Birch, this is Andre. I know that when me, you, and the mayor had connected several months ago, we talked about possibly, and you may have just talked about this, I had to kind of go in and out of the meeting. My Zoom was acting up. But we talked about possibly even doing like an open house type thing for our committee to almost reboot it, and then also just to kind of explain, you know, what we are. And we talked about, you know, possibly even doing it at the Gateway building, because that's a building that we can use for free. And then possibly she was saying that there could be some funds available that we wanted to provide snacks or something like that for the community to come engage. And we can invite, you know, the different neighborhood associations, community organizations in general, and just kind of, you know, reiterate what our committee is, you know, talk about our process. But we just talked about how that might be a good idea as far as just kind of rebooting our committee.
Yes, that is on our agenda today to talk about. So thank you for bringing that up. That is on the agenda to talk about today, and go into more details and see if we can try to narrow down some ideas for the open house and discuss what we would like to see at the open house. So that is on our agenda today. I just was hoping that it's been a while since we met, we had some time to talk about some of the goals or ideas we have for the committee. But it sounds like we all may need more time to go over that. So maybe we can table that until the next meeting and then go from there. Ms. King?
Yeah, I wanted to say one thing that we could do is when they have in the council meetings, when a citizen's opportunity to speak, someone could represent our committee, and that will help give us more publicity and help people get acquainted with our purpose. Because that's a forum that's already in existence that we could take advantage of.
Thank you. I think that's a really good idea. Lee, you have your hand raised as well? And then we're gonna go to Chief next.
Yeah, I do. One of the things, as a District 2 representative, I've been talking to Councilman Grave about attending some of the homeowners association meetings, the town hall meetings that he has, and then going to some of the coffees that the other councilmen have, so that I can talk about the committee and get some interest in it, and not just for recruiting members for the committee, because I think we're going to do that, but to get more people interested in actually participating in the community. I've also talked to Mr. Grab about getting some tables so that we can start going to some of the meetings or some of the town activities that they have, and maybe setting up a meeting next table next to community development, so that we can be more active in the committee and talk to people. And he said that I should, maybe the police department has some tables we can use, because he says they have a ton of them. But that's what some of the ideas that I had.
Okay. Chief?
Yeah, I may be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but we are currently, and I think this fits perfect with this group. We have some money for community awareness, some community awareness programs, projects, etc. A nice chunk of money that we've gotten from some grant funds. One of the things that we just had a meeting about, and quite frankly, this came from some of our chaplains group and the clergy that we met with. And we're working through what this looks like. We're working at logo, image, messaging, events geared towards the target groups in this. Groups that can be part of this is own the data, share the data, change the data, right? When I look at, and I'm not at the point here where if you want to skip to me and I share what the data is, well, how do we continue? How do we put that all out to the community? Because that's what, I mean, I guess this group has talked about in the past is transparency, right? Is what we're trying to get to. More and more transparency, which I agree with. We're in the process of looking at a new CAD RMS system. And I want to be able to put a transparency dashboard on there, one where we can put this data up. So it's there, everybody can see it, and you see what's there, you see what's occurring, along with like our shot spotter information and what we're seeing, the trends of more automatic gunfire versus single gunshots, right? And other information, obviously, that can be put up through this dashboard. But part of this is when we look at when you look at the data that I'll share with you, who are the groups that are being most affected by the crime, who's involved in it, who are the victims in it, age range, demographics, etc., then it gives us a place to really start pushing our efforts to. And I know Boone sits on some of the same meetings that I sit on. Specifically, I'm talking about the safety network meetings that we have, and we have one tomorrow, where these other groups of stakeholders are in. And what we're talking about is being intentional to be in the areas that most need the help. Because if you look at our maps for the last 10 years, the trend hasn't changed. Everything's been in the same area for the last 10 years. And so we can't continue doing the same thing and think we're going to find new results. So we have to pivot and be intentional to focus in on these areas of need. Well, Boone wants to jump in on that and say anything, but he's been part of these, and we've been working hand in hand on quite a few things.
I think Ms.
Yeah.
King, oh, go ahead, Chief. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with Chief E. We've been looking at this data, and I think a lot of people in that safety network meeting, I think having the data right in their faces kind of gave us marching orders on what stuff we need to do, specific areas we need to target. And like Chief E said, these areas are not surprises to anyone. We know which people are affected. And I think having that dashboard out there for the public to see, for us to see, will kind of help us get those target areas and keep everybody accountable. Because if that red or that orange doesn't change, then we know what we're doing isn't working. We need to retool. So.
And what this group hasn't seen is these maps that we're talking about. And I'm not just talking about crime maps. We're talking about maps where are the bus stops at and where are they not at? Where are areas in the community do they have access to internet and they don't have internet? Lighting, street issues. And when you start putting these maps, you see these big trends that and it shows where it matches exactly where our crimes are at and things are occurring. And even when you overlay some of the school maps with some of the issues that Boone has to deal with in his schools, it really laser focuses us into where we need to be and what areas we need to be in.
Okay, so that would be one of the goals for you for the committee, is to look more at transparency. And I think that falls in line more with some of the things that we want to do, and that is to focus more on building the relationships between the community and the police department, sharing more information, providing support, letting the community know that there is a committee if they need something, and that we can advocate for them and give them some support if they need it, in building that relationship and bridging those gaps. So I appreciate both chiefs sharing that information. Ms. King? Or is your hand up from last time?
I'm sorry, no, it's up again.
Oh, okay. The hand confuses me a little bit. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just wanted to add that since the name of the committee is Police Community Relations, I would recommend that each one of the people on the committee take some time to do a ride along with the police officer and get direct input from them, either to increase their awareness or to get their ideas. I remember when I went through the police academy, I deliberately picked a time of day shift where there wasn't a whole lot happening so that I could have a conversation with the officer that I rode with. And I'm thinking that we need to work both sides, the community and the officers on the street who are coming in contact, with all types of incidents. So they may have some input for us as well.
Very good point. So what can we do as a committee moving forward to, I think we need a solid plan to implement to some action goals, as opposed to just we meet when we can, since we haven't always had a quorum, meeting every month and talking about things. What can we do to move forward? I know when we talked with the mayor and Councilman Allen, we talked about our open house, which I believe is our next agenda item, and talked about having an open house. So with that being said, I think that in order for us to have a successful open house, we need to work on having a solid plan to present to the community when we have an open house. So I think that we should focus on defining our goals, defining our action goals, and how we can actually put those steps forward to be successful as a committee. I think that is our next step. Does anybody have any questions on that or any ideas about how we can do that?
I don't have any questions, but I do have a statement. I hope we don't lose sight of the reason why this committee was first formed. And that was because of the complaints that we had primarily from the south end of the city of Peoria and the north end, where individuals complained about being stopped for little or no reason in the south side. For example, if their tire hit the middle lane, they were stopped by police for illegal lane usage. with the follow-up question is, let me search your car and I'll let you go. That was the reason this committee was first formed, and some of those practices are still going on in the south side and north end of the city of Peoria. Now, someone mentioned having an open meeting at the Gateway building. That was one of our most successful meetings of this committee. And it was quite revealing to people in the north side, regardless of age or race. They didn't even know we existed, but they had many complaints about some of the treatment that they received from police officers for what they deemed to be no real reason. That's why the Justice Department came in and met with the parties, and from that, this committee was formed. So, you know, this is not a feel-good committee. This committee was developed to address some of those issues that are happening, especially in the south side of Peoria. Loud music, for example. I recall one winter day when a young man came to me and he said he was stopped by a police officer for loud music, notwithstanding the fact that it was the dead of winter, his windows were up, and the police officer told him that he could hear him from 2 blocks away. Well, that was highly unlikely under the circumstances, but still, he was stopped and promised that he would not write him a ticket if he would allow him to search his car. And of course, the whole point was, it seems like everybody that drives a car in the south side and the north end of the city of Peoria are drug dealers, and that's what at least the police department feels about them. So please don't lose the focus of what this committee was originally formed to do.
I appreciate you sharing that, Mr. Jackson. And the focus is not lost, but that is not all that the committee is for. And to get this,
I've been on this committee since it was first started.
I understand that. If you will let me finish, I would be very grateful as I let you speak, because we're going to be respectful in the meeting to everybody when they're speaking, because that is how we do things. But that's not the only thing. When we are to build relationships with the community and the police, and we can get some of those complaints or get more of that information once we're out there more in the community and they know who we are. Right now, not a lot of people know what our committee is doing or what it's for. To get that part of it and to get the relationship building, we need to be out in the community more. So that is why I'm asking, what are some goals to be out in the community more, so they know who we are, what we're doing, and if they have an issue or a complaint, they can come to us. Right now, all they know is we have a small page on the county website, and they don't have a lot of information about what we're doing or how to get to us. That is
How do you know that?
happened.
How do you know that?
I've been on this board since 2017, and I've been the chair since June, and we haven't gotten anything in our inbox. That's how I know that they don't know who we are or what we're doing.
And I think both things can be true. I think one of the reasons why they don't, I wouldn't say they don't know, but I think from what I'm hearing with the public and some of the people that have left the board is they don't have any faith in what the team can do, because the team has no power. And I've looked at other police and community relations committees across the country, and their city council actually gives them power to be citizen review boards, to assist in, certain investigation of police misconduct. When you solve those issues, that is your word of mouth. That is your advertisement also. And then we also need to get to city council. We need to get to the Gateway building. We need to get out there and advertise. But I think two things can be true. And it's just, from when I got on the committee the last time, I have to admit that was the reason why I left the committee the first time, is because I didn't see any traction. I didn't see any movement. And it seemed like we had no bite or no power when someone would come with a complaint or someone would come with an issue. And when they come and nothing gets done from the committee, that word of mouth is more damning than us showing up to a Gateway building. why come to that committee? Because they have no power and nothing will be done. So they're both things can be true, I think.
Well, I think if you want to know what's going on the south side, two of the most well-attended meetings we had were at Carver Center. And to overthrow oversized crowds that had a lot to say to us about their experience with police officers, at least in the south side of Peoria, and to some extent in the north end when we met at the Gateway building. So if you want to know what people think about us, then we need to be meeting in the community and not necessarily in City Hall or by Zoom.
Mr. Jackson, when was that? When were
What?
those meetings? When were those meetings?
Oh, it's been years ago when we first got started.
14 or 15?
Yeah.
No, it was pre-pandemic for sure.
Oh,
But-
yes, it was probably like 2018, I believe. Because
Yeah.
we had the first meeting and then the response was so overwhelming, we had to have a second one.
Mhm.
But I did want to add to the chair, to talking about the lack of response. I just want you to know that we were having those meetings and there were people that I would try to convince to file reports. And there was simply a lack of trust, which came out in our first weekend that we met. And I can personally vouch for that because I had a complaint and it was delayed and delayed and delayed and never really addressed. And finally, the guy that called me is retired now, but he's like, the police chief asked me to call you personally, blah, blah, blah. And I told him what I wanted. And he said, well, that's not going to happen. So my issue wasn't even resolved. And I'm a member of the committee, so I can understand why there's not trust, but we need to build that up. We can't stop because it's not happening. We need to work on building that trust. And that's why I'm thinking we need to engage with the officers who are an important component of this relationship.
Right, and the engagement happens when we do our open house, when we're out and they know who we are and we're present, as opposed to we meet and discuss things. So that is the purpose of us coming up with some goals where we have some action goals on things we can be doing. Yes, the committee was founded on addressing some complaints, and I have done a lot of research on not just this committee, but other committees in other cities and other states. And Chief Boone, you are right. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability at this time to be an official complaint board and make those recommendations. And that is based on some various statutes and policies that are in place at this time. So I have done research and checked to see if that is possible. And it's just, that's not something that they have outlined for the Peoria County Advisory Committee at this time.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, this is Andre. I would like to make a motion that we do 3 quarterly events in 2023 that engage the community and also the police as we look to build our awareness. I think that is a realistic and a tangible goal that this committee can achieve.
I second that.
I
second that.
definitely second, third, fourth, whatever. I 100% agree.
And if I could, I stepped away for a minute, so you may have already talked about this. I think we should maybe try and have, and Chief, you might be able to speak to this or block out time or how we would be able to accomplish this, about maybe having a retreat of some sort with the different officers, or even, I mean, or even getting started what is it, the Citizens Academy again? I know COVID kind of killed that, or if they're doing that, but actually engaging with the officers so that they know that we're here. And then, and I think a few months ago we had talked about ERS riding along, or what happened with that, where they have social services that can ride along on different calls and things like that. That if they had heinous or complaints or whatever, then they can give them a brochure or something to reach us.
I did address us doing the ride along.
I'm
while we were
sorry.
gone,
Like I
probably.
said, I had to go get something out of the laundry, so I apologize. Sorry.
Well, I'd like to just say this, as the chief, I can't speak on what previous administrations did here. What happened prior to me being here, is what it is. What I can say is I have absolutely no problem with you being a third party, taking a complaint and bringing it towards us. As a matter of fact, if we had a dashboard, your name as a group would be listed on there as a place that if they don't feel comfortable talking to Lieutenant Deeb, or they don't feel comfortable walking into the police department, or they don't feel comfortable doing these other options, you're an option for somebody to bring a complaint forward. I have no issue with that. As a matter of fact, it may help us because the amount of manpower that we have here, quite frankly, we're not seeing the amount of complaints that some may think. We're not seeing them. But I have no problem with this group taking a complaint and bringing it to us. I've been very open about that, very vocal about that from day one. So I just want to reiterate that because there is no issue with me. If you want to bring a complaint, Lieutenant Deeb is on here. You would just forward it right to Lieutenant Deeb. He's our internal affairs lieutenant. And you can forward that complaint to him and he will follow up on those complaints. There is no issue with that.
I remember, Chief, when you first came, you told us that, and I said, you've moved us light years ahead.
So I stand on that. I have no problem with that. I've been very transparent for day one, and we will continue to do that. We want to be more transparent, and when we get this transparency dashboard up and running, and I've said it, we've had some very old technology here that hasn't allowed to be able to create some of the things that we want to create. But we're going to move forward on all of that.
Thank you, Chief. So for our goals, we are going to try to have 3 events to build relations in the community. We're going to not lose sight that of why the committee was founded. We're going to see about the ride-alongs with police department and arranging that for the committee members. And work on having meetings that are not just at the police station is what I have. Is everybody in agreement with those things?
And can we also, I know it'll kind of seem like a far shot and dark, but you know, what Chief E is saying, you know, when you got a chief is saying, yeah, I'm all for transparency. I want to capitalize on that. So like I said, what happened before him, we all know what happened before him. That was not, transparency was not on the forefront before him. But I do think we should look into talking with City Council and Mayor Ali about restructuring the power of this department to fit what Chief E was just saying, to have us, you know, have more teeth and bite to what we're doing. I think that should possibly be an agenda also.
We definitely can. I have when I became the chair, extensively looked into this and the possibility, and it's not just the council who would have to get this approved, but I will send out and share that information about how that process works and how you get it to be approved on that, be approved to be an official complaints and committee if you guys are interested in that, because it's a long process, but I'm open to sharing that if anybody is interested in that. Yes, no, maybe?
Yes, I think we should proceed with that.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Shalandra,
Uh-huh.
I have a copy of the ordinance that was written back in, it was passed on June 22nd, 2010. And it covers the created purpose of this committee. And I would be more than happy to send it out, or to maybe have Christina send it out to the members of the committee so that they can see what the created purpose of this committee was, because there is a difference between an advisory committee, which we are, and a civilian review board. The city council would have to set up a civilian review board. As far as the complaints go, we would still only be able to refer the complaints like we do, but depending on what the complaint is, as of July 1st, all misdemeanor complaints become the concern of the Illinois Law Enforcement Training Partners Act. So it's that Lieutenant Deeb could describe, but we would still be able to do the noise violations and all that. But according to the ordinance, that has we have never been set up to do anything other than to refer the complaints. And then after the resolution was done, then we could sit with the chief if the complainant was not happy, and the chief could explain why it happened. But we were never involved in the investigation or any of that part, according to the ordinance. So if everybody wants a copy of the ordinance, I'll be happy to ask Christina if she could send it out to everybody.
Okay, thank you for sharing. I think that might be beneficial as well. Chief, is your hand raised for a different question, or did you forget to put it down? Okay, there we go. All right, so we'll move on so that we can respect everybody's time. And I will send out what we talked about for our goals for moving forward and how we will push those forward. As far as having our open house, we originally, the mayor was thinking that October would be beneficial, but since we weren't able to meet, do you guys think that, well, does everyone think that possibly due to the weather, should we look at tabling that for more of a spring session? Or what do you all think, just move forward and maybe consider something for January?
Spring.
Everybody in favor for January, we'll go around and I'll do a vote. If you are in favor of January, could you raise your hand or say aye so we can take a vote? Okay, that'll be nobody. Okay, for spring. All right, somebody has an iPhone. I'm not sure who that is, unfortunately.
That might be me, Madam Chair. I don't know if my name is listed. I did vote for January, and I'm not a fan of the code either, but I think if we're trying to set the tone for the new year, having that open house, at least to just get us some momentum, and then following up with some engagement opportunities throughout the year, I think would be good for the committee. So I did want to support January, although I am not a fan of the.
Shalandra,
Yes.
I'll echo with the councilman in the sense that, quite frankly, I think this is your group. I'm here, but this is your group, your guys's. As a police chief, I'm not running this group. So whatever you guys want to do, but what I'm hearing in your conversation is you guys need to get up running sooner than later is what I'm hearing. And so you may not want to delay it. If you want people, people can't continue to complain that you're not being used, but if people don't know that you're there, they're not going to use you. So you got to get the name of the group out there and the contact information sooner than later if you want people to use you, I guess. So quite frankly, whatever you guys want, I'm good with.
Thank you.
Well, I agree. I go with January.
Ms. King, you have your hand raised?
I had my hand up because I agree also with the chief. I was saying that we should do it this year, and then we can have momentum, start to build momentum for those meetings off-site in the spring.
That makes sense. Thank you for that. Chief Boone, I saw your message too. Okay, so that looks like the majority is going to go for January for our meeting. Now, this meeting will be in person. We will need everybody's support in order for it to be successful. So it won't be a Zoom meeting, unfortunately. So I will talk with Mayor Ali and see if she can let me know what steps we take to obtain the gateway and get all of that started. So our January meeting is what date? I'm sorry, I don't have my phone out to look at the date. Let me see.
Shalandra,
Mhm.
you don't even have to, quite frankly, even bother with the mayor. We can arrange the gateway for you.
Okay.
My staff here can figure that out for you. Just talk with Christina. We have access to it. I know the mayor's very busy, but we have staff here that can figure that out and handle that for you. You guys just need to figure out when you want to do it. We can figure out what dates it's available out there and make that connection for you. So just connect, maybe you and I, and maybe next week or whatever, connect or what with Christina, and we can move that along for you. So
Okay,
it'd probably be easier that way. The mayor's quite busy as well.
understandable.
Yep,
Understandable.
I'm just trying to save her from having to, or anybody else from running around. We can do it directly.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
So we will have our open house set for January, and we will send out, well, we will work to send that out so that everybody has advance notice. Okay, Andre, thank you. The next topic on our meeting is the general police updates. So Chief E, you could go ahead and move forward.
Let me see if I can share a screen here or not. Pull this up over here. Can you pass it off to me so I can share my screen? Otherwise I can't. Well, it don't matter. I guess I don't need to show it to you. I can talk about it if it makes it easier. Won't waste any time. So
Figure that out.
yeah, no, that's all right. So I'm gonna give you where we're at stat wise, year to date, just a quick overview. Well, not year to date. I had to add in the numbers from yesterday, the last through the 7th. We're down shooting incidents by 31%. And we're down shots by the alerts. We're at 1,026 versus 1,475 last year, 4,492 in rounds fired compared to 5,500 this year, 112 shooting incidents down to 77. Gunshot victims, 132 last year, 94 this year. Homicides by gunfire, well, we have to add a number to that one. We'll be at 19 because we had a 15-year-old that was shot, our last homicide. That puts us at 23 this year so far. And really, I think what I wanted to share, and we've been sharing and tomorrow we have a meeting where we'll share the most recent all the way till tomorrow morning updates, is when we were talking about being intentional where we need to be and who do we need to be. We know that based on our statistics and our information here, that we had, as of the 7th, I said, 94 people hit by gunfire. Out of those 94 people, 91 of them are African-American, average age of 27. The same thing when we talk about homicides. As 23 homicides, 21 of them, 20 of them, 20, I mean, I'm trying to add this last one for. Yeah, 21 of them are African-American, average age of 29 this year. And so we've been very intentional in the conversations we're having in the safety network meeting to talk about these, because there are specific areas in the city that we need to be focused in to get services in, to make sure that there's other things in place. Hence why one of the things that we're looking at is this community awareness of owning, sharing, and changing the data, and really involving our community partners in that. Because we need to, one, save some lives, two, stop having people that fit these demographics here be the victims of these crimes that are occurring. So that's kind of just a quick overview of that. So we have some, we'll have some, quite a bit of funds to do that. One of the other things we're doing as this group, it talks about, obviously, community engagement. We got 12 people on our list for our next hiring that are going through backgrounds right now. One of the things that we're doing is we have a $15,000 lateral transfer bonus. So that means if you're an officer already and you want to come here and work and you pass everything we have, there's a $15,000 hiring bonus to get you here. We are looking at, so we have a flyer, I can't share it with you, but it basically says you like your job but don't know where to go. We're looking to put some billboards up in Chicago and St. Louis to get officers from those areas that want to leave. There's officers that want to leave Chicago, there's officers that want to leave St. Louis, and we want to do this in New York. And we're doing a comparison on here of what it costs. For example, a house that costs $500,000 in Chicago is $340,000 here. The average apartment, the rent in Chicago is $2,754. It's $868 here, right? So we're going to be working with Discover Peoria. We've got some things moving. We want to start attracting people into our city, but we need to start attracting people into these positions here, because we also have $3,064,000 that I have getting here for our co-response that we are putting together, right? Because again, we can't continue to do the job the same way. We're working with the Friendship House and have put together a referral program, essentially. So right now, you bring a juvenile, I've said this before, you bring a juvenile in, it's arrest or release, or just release them or arrest. There's nothing in between. There's no healing circles. There's no peer jury. There's no community service. There's nothing to it. So we need to have some other things in place. It doesn't necessarily, if you only got two options, then what do we, we're only 50% you're going to arrest them or 50% you're going to release. Well, there may be other options in there where we can help them, get them some other services, get them some other things. But if we don't have those things in place, we can't do that. So nobody is asking the police department to do this. We are taking the initiative to do this. So I like to reiterate that, because again, we continue to work with the school. Our tip 411, it's been phenomenal for us in getting information and being able to connect. Chief Boone, I won't take your thunder. I'll let you talk about yours. But there's some things that we are doing with the school district. There's been great communication with the district as we deal with juveniles. Chief Boone and I, if there's this last homicide, our phones back and forth. Hey, we're looking at this. What do you have? And just trying to figure out what's going on and sharing information. And there's been a lot of that here. That's why I continue to reiterate, this is not the same agency that maybe you dealt with years ago. And it's not the same administration. It's a younger department. It's a younger administration. And we're looking at trying to do things differently. So this co-response, we're working with Unity Point. We're going to be hiring social workers, licensed, I forget what it is. There's a specific LC something, licensed, clinical, whatever.
Social worker.
Yeah,
Right.
social worker, LCS, let's see, licensed clinical, so yeah, LCSW.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's very specific in the legislation that we put together with Jahan Gordon Booth. And we're going to hire social workers. We're going to have the equipment to be able to work from a distance and help de-escalate and get people the help they need versus necessarily having to take somebody there. That's not the answer. Sometimes that might be the answer, but it's not the answer all the time. And we've come up with a criteria of where we see that there's a lot of calls that police don't necessarily need to be the first responder to, but we need to have, if there is nobody else to be the first responder, then we have to do it. We can't say no. So we're going to, as we move into the new year, we are working diligently on putting that together. So, so there's a lot of things moving on our end in that, and that's all I got for you right now. Unless you got some questions for me. Any questions, comments, concerns? Anything I could answer?
I did have a question. When you said that there were, I believe you said 23 homicides this year, how many was last year? I missed that.
Oh, 28, I believe.
Okay.
Well, hold on, let me pull it back. It could be more because I don't have it to today's date. So as of the 7th, of November, we were at 22 homicides and 20 this year, 28 last year. We did have another homicide between the 7th and now, but I don't know if there was more homicides between those dates last year either. So I don't have that. We will have that tomorrow for the meeting that we're at with the safety network, the most updated. The crime analyst will have that tomorrow.
Okay.
And Shalandra, quite frankly, I could shoot you I could shoot you an email with that PowerPoint once we have it with the new updated information.
Okay, thank you. I would appreciate that.
Yep.
Chief Boone, do you have anything you want to share? Guessing maybe did we lose him? Okay.
Boom might have snoozed off on us.
Oh,
you know-
no, I I'm sorry, I'm trying to do three things at once here. What was the question? I'm sorry.
I asked, did you have anything that you wanted to share?
Oh, yeah, when Chief was talking about the tip 411, again, we kind of piggybacked off of what the success that they're having with tip 411, to be able to be proactive and get things before they start. We got the school version, so we can, have our kids share information, because a lot of the SROs we have, you'll be amazed at the information that they get from kids day in and day out. It's just amazing because of their relationships. So yeah, Peoria Public Schools is definitely going to be reaping the benefits of tip 411.
Is it the same number that the kids use as the adults or no?
They'll actually have it, they're breaking it down per school. So they'll have like an MHS manual tip line and Peoria High tip line, and it's just down the list. They'll be able to submit that information. That way we can head up on things. And then again, our relationship with the Peoria Police to kind of be proactive to head off a lot of these incidents. We'll be able to share that information a lot quicker too.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
Alondra, I think it's just a testament to the relationships that have been built, that we're able to just share this type of information and have these connections. And so I don't want that to be missed in that. Again, it's a different feel.
Thank you for that. I agree with that. Ms. King?
Thanks, Madam Chair. When the chief asked if there were any questions or comments, I just wanted to make sure I got this on record. I think I told you before, Chief, that the neighborhood or citywide community chat next door, you get very positive remarks and of affirmation for the work that you're doing in the community. So it does not go unnoticed, even though we get frustrated and we think we're not making accomplishments, but people notice it and they are saying good things. And the second thing is I appreciate the way you have interspersed yourself into the community. And I'm particularly speaking of the CASA dance contest last weekend. Congratulations on your perfect score.
Thank you, I guess. I had the tightest pants I've ever worn in my life.
I didn't refer to your attire. I just talked about the dance moves.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm getting rid of that stuff. Yeah.
Well, anyway, the community recognizes the outstanding work that you're doing.
Indeed. Thank
as far as policing.
Lee, is your hand raised for something else or for now?
I'm getting ready to lower it.
Okay, thank you. Lee?
Thank you, ma'am.
I do have a question for the chief, but I need to give a little bit of background on it. Back at the September meeting in 2020, a gentleman named Kenneth Bergeron from the Department of Justice was asked to speak at the meeting. And he was asked to speak to the progress that this committee had made since its restarting in 2010. And he was also asked to compare how Peoria was doing between Rockford and Champaign. Member Ali talked about the complaint process, and then Mas Patel discussed the ordinance. And after this was done, he made 3 recommendations. The first recommendation was that this committee needed to understand what advising meant. And he gave several examples, but those were not included in the minutes. I think there's probably 2 of us here tonight, 3 counting Lieutenant Deeb, that weren't here at that meeting. So I don't know what the several things were that he suggested that other committees were doing. The second thing he suggested was that along with understanding what advising meant, he suggested that the members of the committee do some soul searching and self-reflecting to see what, how they saw the committee, how they saw themselves, which is what Shalandra is doing now with the goals and strategics. But the third thing is the one that I'm interested in right now. And that was, he said that he brought up how the advisory committee can play a calming role to the community by holding forums after an inciting incident by being a neutral third party. He thought that these forums could discuss the positives of the police department in ways that they could improve. Now, he's talking about after an incident, and I'm wondering, Chief, do you see this committee as acting as a calming body, or having members have forums where we do have calming information, or in other words, we could help bring down the tone of what's going on? And I kind of relating it to like what the article that was in the paper, in the Journal Star yesterday, about the Richmond family. And they were upset because they felt they weren't getting enough information, which, they have no control over. There was some talk about, we're not going to discuss what's going on with the investigation, and we're not going to talk about what's going to happen after the results are in. That kind of talk can cause problems. Do you see how this committee could help in lowering the temperature?
Only if you could push your biases to the side, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Right? Because everybody is not on the same sheet, right?
Okay.
If we are talking about doing that, we all have to be on the same sheet, and we have to be able to put our own biases to the side. And the best example I could give is—
Does that go for the police department as well?
Absolutely.
All right, well, I wanted to hear that.
Absolutely. But it goes for you as well, Mr. Jackson.
Well, I got a lot of them. There's no
I know you
question
do.
about them. That's because
I'm probably most specific.
that's because I've been in
you.
this community for over 50 years. So
yeah,
I understand what's going on in this community.
Right. You understand what happened prior to me, right? And I've offered a conversation with you to say, what have you seen since I've been here, and what are the changes? And if give credit where credit is due, but give critique where it's due as well. And I'm here to listen to you. But if you keep bringing up what happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I can't control that. I'm trying to control the narrative now and how we move forward. And that's what I need, right? We don't always have to agree. And the best example I can give you is Pastor Hightower and myself, NAACP president, chief of police. I put my hat on, he puts his hat on. I could take my hat off and still go have lunch with him. We can see some differences and we can talk to him, and there's a mutual respect, is what I'm saying. And he's in my office quite a bit, and we can conversate, and I truly appreciate his feedback. And we have real dialogue, respectful dialogue, and can listen to each other. If we can't do that, we will never move forward, is what I'm saying. We don't owe, that's all, that's what I'm trying to say. We have to be able to push our biases to the side. Everybody does, right? If we're talking about bringing the temperature down on certain issues, we have to be able to come to the table with the same understanding that that's the goal. I don't know if this group can do it. I don't know. I can tell you that we have a chaplains group here that's a very diverse group that has been very, very successful. And they're volunteers, and they have done a phenomenal job of showing up on scenes and showing up at places and really being a calming effect. And we've stepped back and just let them do their thing. And it's just holistically done it themselves. No pressure either way. And can this group do it? I don't know. Right now, could they do it? No. Not with what I'm hearing, right? And that's just me being honest. But I'm willing to listen to the feedback back and how can we get there, right? The goal, I think, if our goal as a group, all of us, as citizens of this town, as residents here, is to make Peoria better, then we all got to be able to listen to each other. We all have to find, okay, I don't see this. I don't see it. How do we find that happy medium? How do we figure it out and work together to get there? That's what I'd like to do. We're all different people. We all have different perspectives. We're different ages, different experiences. So, Mr. Jackson, you have a wide variety of experiences that I haven't experienced, just based on age, based on who we are, based on a lot of different factors. But I'm willing to sit here and listen and say, okay, well, how do we move forward so there aren't people in this city that have to go through what you went through, Mr. Jackson, right?
Let me ask you this question. Several months ago, you said that the department was going to have experts, mental health experts,
Yep.
to travel with them to
Correct.
shootings like the Vince Richmond shooting. Was there one on the scene that night? And if not, why not?
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh,
We
okay.
can't talk about that right now. You know that, Mr. Jackson. You know better than that. Well, first of all,
No, that's a simple question. Was
We
there
don't-
one
we-
on
well,
there?
wait,
If not,
okay.
why not?
well, I'll tell you, we don't have social workers. We don't have social
So
workers.
that program hasn't started.
It has not started. We don't have that. But I can't talk about that case because ISP is investigating it.
That's understandable. I think right now we need to focus on our goals and start small. And then maybe eventually we can widen, our spans to say, hey, we got this down. We're in the community. We've done this. We've worked on our process of complaints. If we can't build in our relationships, we worked on building our relationships between the police and the community. Now let's see if we can do even more work as far as one-on-one work with families when there's a crisis, because you do have to have a certain kind of skill to work with somebody in a crisis situation. And I'm not questioning anybody's skill or saying we don't have that, but right now, if we all went there to talk to a family, I could tell you that it, like Chief said, it might not go the best right now. So I think we should focus on our small group of goals that we have now, and then we can work towards some of those larger goals as we go farther down the line. So with that being said, we have about 20 minutes left. Do we have any citizens on Zoom today that would like to address the committee? I thought I saw a name, but I think they may have dismissed themselves. Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments that we would like to discuss today?
You mentioned that early on that the mayor said that she would like to see the committee go in a different direction. Did she articulate what direction that was that she thinks we ought to be going in?
She would like us to focus more on when you go to, I don't know how to share screens, but when you log on to the county's website and you look up the committee, there is a summary of what the committee is supposed to be doing. And the purpose of the committee, she would like to focus on that particular focus, which is improving the police and community relations and to provide independent means of communication and assistance between the citizens of Peoria and the Peoria Police Department in order to foster a positive working relationship between the community and the police. She would like us. Go ahead, I'm
Was that
sorry.
her statement? That was the mayor's statement?
That's not her exact statement. That is what she would like us to focus on, what is already written. But she didn't write that, no. And in order to get, her exact words, you would probably have to talk more with her, but this is a summary of what she said when she spoke with me, is that she would like us to focus on what it says. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but could I comment on Mr. Jackson's question? Mr. Jackson, the created purpose of the advisory committee, it's like a three-legged stool. The first was can the committee advise the police department to improve the relationship between the police department and the citizens. I think that since the chief has been here, he has done a fantastic job of helping improve relationships. The second was to facilitate the committee citizen who doesn't know how or is afraid to file a complaint, to help them do it. And then the third was to help improve relations between the citizens or the neighborhoods and the police department. And I think that's where this committee can focus on somewhat now, whether it's helping set up neighborhood watches, whether it's doing town hall meetings, whether it's doing, outreach work, so that they know who we are. And I think that's where we're at. And that's basically what is kind of like in the ordinance when it was set up. Does that help?
I don't need you preaching to me, okay?
I'm not preaching to you. I'm just.
Well, I think you are.
Well,
I've
I'm
been on
sorry.
this,
I'm sorry if you feel that way, but that's kind of like what that's what I heard in the statement from the mayor.
Do we have any other questions or comments that we want to address today? Okay. I appreciate everybody's input, everybody's time to come to the committee and come to the meeting today, especially since we have not been able to meet since June. So I am really, really, really appreciative that we were able to meet today. I will send out, once I gather it and make it look professional, and outline of what we talked about today with some of those goals that we're looking forward to. And I want everybody to know that if you have any questions after the meeting, some comments or anything that you want to add, please feel free to email me or to call me. I am open to suggestions, any type of communication, or if there was something that you want to talk about, more in depth, please feel free to contact me. I'm very open to that and making this committee work and be successful for everybody in our community, and not just our phone calls and then we all leave the table and nothing happens. I'm looking forward to moving forward and doing some things. With that being said, I would like to close the meeting, so I know we need a motion.
Give me 1 second, Shalonda.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just to follow up for next steps, Gateway Building, is there a specific time of day that you're looking for?
I think that we should focus on trying to have it at the same time as our meeting. That way we won't have to focus different on everyone's schedules. And then, most people are off work during that time. So I think if we try to focus on the same time frame, that might be beneficial. Ms. King?
We'll work on getting some dates for you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. King?
I just wanted to say that we had those meetings that were successful at Carver Center. It was because they were on Saturdays.
Okay.
So that gives everyone, you don't have to rush, you don't have dinner and come to our meeting. I just want to throw that out there.
How about I get you some dates on some Saturdays and some Tuesday nights, and you guys tell me what you guys would like. We'll just arrange it, right? And
okay.
then you guys can build your agenda on what it is you want to express to the community on what this group is doing.
Okay, thank you for that. And Ms. King, thank you for giving that update on that. There were some Saturdays involved that I appreciate that. And Chief, yeah, if you could just get an outline of some of those options, and then at our next meeting, we could just vote on which one works better.
Perfect. Mr. Jackson, I'd love to have lunch with you. So you tell me.
Anytime,
All right,
anytime.
all right, we'll do it.
Okay, I'm motioning to complete our meeting at 6:48 PM.
So moved.
Second.
All right. So we'll go around one more time with our attendance. I think Councilman Allen left, but Andre Allen. Okay, Chief Mario Boone.
Yep.
Chief E. Oh, he may be on his way in here. Mr. Jackson.
Oh, you said Chief E. Yes, I'm good. I don't know.
Okay.
No, I want to stay here for another hour. Nope, I'm good.
Mr. Jackson,
Yes,
Ms. King,
Yes.
Lee. Lee?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Catherine?
Yes.
Thank you. Karen?
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. You have a nice evening, and you got 20 minutes, well, 10 minutes back of your time to do something special with it.
And
Thank
thank you
you.
as well.
Sandra, I'll run over to the room over there and help you out.
I'll be here.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.